The first argument happened over curtains. The second happened over where they would spend Christmas. The third happened over how they should raise a child they hadn't even had yet. Neither Adaobi nor Femi realized it at the time, but their marriage was slowly becoming crowded. Too many opinions, too many expectations, too many people making decisions that belonged to two people alone. By the time they finally understood what was happening, the damage had already begun. When Adaobi married Femi, she believed she was marrying a man who understood her. They had spent nearly 3 years building a relationship rooted in friendship, patience, and mutual respect. Their journey had not been perfect, but it had been honest. They talked about their dreams, discussed their fears, and planned the future they hoped to create together. Both came from close-knit families, and both considered family one of the most important parts of their lives. At the time, that felt like a blessing. Neither of them imagined it would later become one of their greatest challenges. The wedding took place in Enugu on a bright December afternoon. Friends and family traveled from different parts of the country to celebrate with them. Laughter filled the venue. Music echoed through the air. Elderly relatives offered prayers and advice, while younger guests danced late into the evening. Looking around at the smiling faces, Adaobi felt grateful. The first few months of marriage felt exciting. Everything was new. They moved into a modest apartment in Abuja and began adjusting to life as husband and wife. There were small disagreements about chores, finances, and routines, but nothing unusual. They laughed often and enjoyed building a life together. The first signs of trouble were so subtle that neither of them noticed. It began with suggestions. Femi's mother frequently called to check on them. At first, Adaobi appreciated the attention. The older woman seemed caring and invested in their happiness. She often offered advice about cooking, managing a home, and navigating married life. Adaobi listened respectfully, but gradually, advice began turning into instruction. One afternoon, Adaobi returned from work to find several pieces of furniture rearrangement. Femi's younger sister had visited during the day and decided the sitting room would look better if everything was moved around. When Adaobi mentioned that she preferred the previous arrangement, Femi laughed and told her not to worry about it. Right? It seemed insignificant, yet something about the incident lingered in her mind. A few weeks later, another situation emerged. Adaobi and Femi had planned to spend Easter alone. Both had demanding jobs, and they looked forward to a quiet holiday together. A few days before the weekend, Femi informed her that his family expected them to travel home instead. The decision had already been made. No discussion, no conversation, no consideration of what they had planned. Adaobi felt disappointed, but said little. She told herself marriage required compromise. As months passed, similar situations became increasingly common. Family members expressed opinions about where they should live. They expressed opinions about when they should have children, how money should be spent, career decisions. They expressed opinions about nearly everything. What made the situation difficult was that none of these relatives considered themselves intrusive. Most genuinely believed they were helping. They saw themselves as loving family members, offering guidance. Yet, good intentions did not change the impact their involvement was having on the marriage. Gradually, Adaobi began feeling like a guest in her own life. Whenever important decisions arose, outside voices seemed to arrive before she could even express her thoughts. Conversations that should have happened between husband and wife often include multiple relatives before they include her. The frustration grew quietly. At first, she tried ignoring it. Then she tried adapting to it. She even tried convincing herself she was overreacting. But emotions really disappear simply because we pretend they aren't there. One evening, after another disagreement involving family expectations, Adaobi sat alone on their balcony. She thought about how different marriage felt from what she had imagined. The loneliness surprised her. Femi was physically present in her life, yet she increasingly felt unheard. The situation became more complicated when financial issues entered the picture. Femi frequently supported extended family members. Adaobi respected generosity and understood cultural expectations surrounding family responsibility. However, significant financial commitments were often made without consulting her first. Money allocated towards their savings goals occasionally disappeared to solve emergencies elsewhere. Each individual decision seemed understandable. Together, they created tension. The resentment that followed wasn't really about money. It was about partnership. Adaobi wanted to feel included. She wanted her voice to matter. She wanted her marriage to belong to them. Meanwhile, Femi felt trapped between competing loyalties. He loved his wife deeply. He also loved his family. For most of his life, family involvement had been normal. Their opinions, support, guidance had always shaped major decisions. He struggled to understand why something that felt natural to him felt suffocating to Adaobi. From his perspective, he wasn't choosing family over his wife. He was trying to keep everyone happy. But unfortunately, that strategy was slowly making everyone unhappy. The tension eventually began affecting their communication. Conversations became shorter, misunderstandings became more frequent. Small disagreements carried emotional weight far beyond the actual issues being discussed. The atmosphere inside their home changed. What had once felt peaceful now felt tense. One Saturday morning, a disagreement over a family gathering escalated into the most serious argument yet. Plans had once again been made without mutual discussion. Months of unspoken frustration suddenly surfaced. For the first time, Adaobi openly expressed everything she had been carrying. She spoke about feeling excluded, She spoke about feeling invisible. She spoke about feeling as though their marriage belonged to everyone except the two people actually living in it. The emotion in her voice shocked Femi, but he finally understood how deeply the situation had affected her. Sometimes people don't recognize pain until they hear it spoken aloud. That conversation marked a turning point, not because it solved everything immediately, but because it exposed the truth. Their problem wasn't family, their problem was boundaries. Over the following weeks, both of them spent time reflecting. Femi began noticing patterns he had previously overlooked. He noticed how frequently outside opinions shaped decisions. He noticed how often he prioritized avoiding family disappointments over protecting marital unity. He noticed how difficult it had become for Adaobi to feel secure within the relationship. Eventually, they decided something needed to change. Together, they established new expectations. Major decisions would be discussed privately before involving anyone else. Financial commitments would require mutual agreements. Family advice would be welcomed but not automatically followed. Most importantly, they agreed that their marriage had to become their primary thing. Implementing those boundaries proved challenging. Some relatives reacted positively, others felt hurt. A few interpreted the changes as rejection. There were uncomfortable conversations. There were moments of guilt. There were times when both Adaobi and Femi questioned whether they were doing the right thing. Yet, something interesting happened as they remained consistent. The chaos began fading. Communication improved. Trust strengthened. Resentment gradually softened. For the first time in a long while, decisions felt collaborative again. Their home started feeling peaceful. Now, the boundaries they feared would create division actually created clarity. Family relationships didn't disappear, they simply became healthier. People knew where their influence ended. The marriage gained space to breathe. Several years later, when reflecting on the difficult season, both Adaobi and Femi recognized an important truth. No one had intentionally tried to destroy their marriage. Most people involved genuinely loved them. The problem was not love. The problem was access. Love without boundaries can become overwhelming. Support without limits can become control. Guidance without restraints can become interference. Healthy relationships require structure. They require clarity. They require the courage to define where one responsibility ends and another begins. Looking back, Adaobi realized that boundaries were not walls designed to keep people out. They were fences designed to protect what mattered. And looking back, Femi realized that protecting a marriage did not mean abandoning family. It meant understanding that every relationship functions best when its proper place is respected. The marriage survived not because problems disappeared. It survived because two people finally learned that love alone is not enough. Love must also be protected. And sometimes, protection begins with a simple word many people struggle to say. Welcome to the reflection segment. One thing that stood out to me in this story is how easy it is for good intentions to create unintended problems. Nobody in this story set out to damage a marriage. Most people were acting alone from a place of care, concern, and love. What makes this situation interesting is that healthy relationships are not only built on love, they are also built on boundaries. I think many people can relate to the pressure of balancing loyalty to family with loyalty to a spouse. In many cultures, especially within African families, relatives play a significant role in each other's life. That support can be beautiful, but when boundaries become unclear, support can slowly turn into interference. Another important lesson is that avoiding difficult conversations rarely solves problems. It often allows resentments to grow in silence. Adaobi and Femi only began healing when they finally addressed their real issue honestly. Healthy boundaries are not acts of disrespect, they are acts of responsibility. They protect relationships from confusion, resentment, and unnecessary conflict. Here are some dream diary lessons. The strongest marriages are not the ones without outside pressure. They are the ones where two people learn how to protect their unity despite that pressure. Boundaries are not signs of rebellion, they are signs of maturity. When everyone has access to your marriage, eventually nobody truly protects it. Love grows best where respect, clarity, and healthy limits exist together. That's today's dream diary lesson. And here are some community questions for you guys. 1. Have you ever experienced family interference in a relationship or marriage? 2. Do you think setting boundaries with relatives is difficult in African families? And why? 3. What's the difference between helpful advice and unhealthy interference? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Dream Diary Podcast. If this story resonated with you, share with someone who may need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and become part of our growing community. Peace.